Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once more, it is another Max Reacts. We're getting information coming thick and fast from Atomic Mass Games. They seem to be on the ball almost every other day with awesome new information. And today we're checking out the Red Beam Man himself, Cyclops. Let's dive in. Alrighty, so Cyclops, what are we expecting with Cyclops? Well, I know what I'm expecting because I've kind of read the rules, but what were you expecting? Obviously, you're expecting a big giant beam of some description. We've got that check. You're expecting a really tactical kind of leadership position. I was expecting something along those lines. Not quite what they've offered, which is pretty cool. But definitely ways to potentially interact with his other X-Men. That's what I was really expecting from Cyclops, which is really, really cool. So let's dive into it. If you don't know who, not sure who Cyclops is, the natural leader himself. Excuse me. He's this man here. He's the leader of the X-Men, the original. He's one of the first X-Men that Charles Xavier picks up. His name is Scott Summers, because they love their alliterations here at Marvel. He was a young guy who kind of couldn't control his abilities too much. He shot red beams out of his eyes. He hit up a kind of giant crane, nearly killed a bunch of people, and then everyone tried to run him out of town. And then Professor X picked him up, offered him the ruby crystal visor that you can see here. To help him control his powers. If he wasn't to wear something red over his eyes, he'd just be shooting beams out of his eyes constantly. So that's kind of a bit of a backstory to him. Became one of the first X-Men, was one of the first leaders as well, and definitely took on that position pretty readily. He tends to butt heads with Wolverine pretty consistently because Wolverine doesn't really deal with leadership figures too well. But this is the model. They were saying they wanted to definitely strike a very, very important pose. Painting blue and yellow is probably not easy. You can see there's quite a bit of green marks floating around. So, yeah, definitely a rough one to kind of paint if you go in this pattern. But really, really cool model. Definitely very kind of like iconic. His like kind of leadership position of like what's happening here. Almost surveying the battlefield with some binoculars. But the binoculars are actually giant red laser beams of death. But what is happening with him? They haven't actually given him much information about his defensive capabilities, so I'd probably just expect him to be a very stereotypical, maybe 4-5 threat character, 6 health on the front side, 6 health on the back side, 3-3-3, maybe a 4-2-3 or something like that, somewhere in the mix. Yeah, honestly, nothing crazy about the defensive. I expect that to be pretty stock standard. Maybe he gets a 4-3-3 if he's 5 threat, just to kind of help him be a little bit tankier. Again, 6 health on both sides. I expect him to be very stock standard character in his numbers. I don't expect anything crazy. Medium movement, 6 health, solid defense, size 2, threat 5, maybe threat 4, depending how they feel. Probably threat 5, depending on these abilities. This ability alone, the Optic Devastation. This is big spender attack. Probably 4 power, maybe 5 power, depending. Probably 4. But it is a range 5 beam attack with 7 strength. It also has this thing called Concussive Force, which makes the target lose 1 power as well. If it produces a wild result against them. So probably 4, maybe 5 powder on this attack. But I expect probably 5 because of the leadership ability that I'm going to go into in a moment. So his builder attack is probably another kind of beam attack. Maybe a beam 2 or a beam 3. Or maybe even just an energy blast, strength 5 or so. That's just a typical builder attack. Maybe the wild gives you, maybe you can push him back a bit, or the wild gives him a bleed or something along those lines. Probably not bleed. Maybe I don't know. Like I don't want to say a stagger. Stagger's going to be too much on a builder. Also stun. So maybe just some kind of effect on them, just to kind of slow them down a little bit. Maybe a push, maybe a small push, which would be pretty huge. Not gonna lie, but interesting to see what his builder attack is gonna be. Could just be a standard builder attack. You get an extra bunch of power from it. Maybe if you hit wilds, you gain extra power as well to kind of help build up for his big Optic Devastation. So that's kind of his big attack. He's gonna have a builder in there, maybe another cheeky attack, but he's got some pretty powerful affiliation abilities here. So we have his leadership ability, Blue Team. affects members of the Uncanny X-Men affiliation. So this is really interesting. I think this is an affiliation, one of the first ones that we're seeing, that only affects other X-Men. So if you try and bring other people into it, such as maybe the Brotherhood or Syndicate or something like that, it will not affect them. I believe this is only for Uncanny X-Men, only for the mutants. But here's kind of why. If you've kind of watched a bunch of my videos, my affiliation tier lists, watched a couple of my other affiliations, talk about Magneto and stuff like that, one of the most powerful things in the game is to circumvent power. Whether it's by having free actions, whether it's getting free power, whether it's spending less amount of power, such as Cabal or Magneto's affiliation as well, is doing some pretty crazy power things, or Avengers obviously cheapening it out. What this allows you to do is within range 3 of the attacker. So if I attack you, and I got a couple guys within range 3, or a couple girls within range 3, they can each donate 1 power to reduce the overall cost of the attack to a minimum of 1. So my original target still has to have 1. But for example, this is why I think Optic Devastation is probably going to be a 5 energy attack. It's probably going to have an extra energy attached onto it, because you're always going to have the ability that your other X-Men can just offer their support to it and make it cheaper. It means on turn 2, it's going to cost me a fair amount of power across the board, but suddenly I can be doing, a range 5 7 dice beam that loses my opponent's power if they haven't positioned themselves correctly on turn 2. I think that's absolutely huge, absolutely massive, especially because it's going to be an energy. It's a beam attack. It's going to be energy, I imagine. I haven't stated it here, but it's most likely going to be energy, which is statistically one of the lower defenses in the game as well. So I think that's absolutely huge. So it says here, the X-Men work together to protect their allies and support them, making certain no one is left vulnerable. It is specifically declares an attack, though. So it's not like superpowers or defensive reaction powers or anything like that. It is specifically when I'm targeting you with an attack. Team affects members of the Uncanny X-Men reps court. Yeah, so I wonder if even if you have a non-X-Men person attacking, they still can't actually access this ability. So it does limit Cyclops in the fact that you're probably only going to take X-Men with him. I don't think there's much else that you're going to take. I think you're going to specifically be taking X-Men with the X-Men affiliation. You're not going to have too much variety in what you can access. But in saying that, the X-Men are looking very, very powerful. Things like Wolverine are looking awesome. Cyclops is already looking awesome like that. Storm can be really, really cool as a non-leader, I think. Her abilities are going to be able to push people around and maybe shift people. I was saying this when the spoilers kind of came out that they were released. I reckon Storm's going to push people into lines and stuff like that, or push them around so Cyclops can get his powerful beam attacks off. I think that's what Storm is going to be really, really good at, which is really cool. But there is also another ability here called Field Leader. Now, this one actually costs power. It's an active power, costs 3. And it means a friendly character within range 4 can advance short. This is, again, really, really huge. I think it's an amazing ability. It means that you can be shifting people all around the board quickly. If you use like crazy R&D tactics, you can try and turn 2, shift people up on the board, move them around a bit. If you've got like the serum canisters that allow you to get extra power and stuff like that, you can actually just start controlling people around the board and getting them into range. You can get your Wolverines into range to make sure that they have their attacks off, because he's a very, very short character, range 2, range 3 at best. So a lot of your shorter range characters have the ability to move forward, maybe a couple of charges, like as an example, Baron Zemo or Valkyrie. Moving them forward to then get into charge range is really, really huge as well. 3 power is a lot of power. It is leadership-based power, which means he has to be your leader. So you can't kind of add him into the Avengers to get some cheaper power off of this. It is just going to be 3 power, which is a lot of power. So it's going to be interesting to see, particularly because I imagine that this Optic Devastation is going to take quite a lot of power. He's already seeming like a character that is very power hungry, just like huge amounts of power is going to be desired for Cyclops. So I think a lot of the time, if you're doing the big beam attacks, you're probably going to be using the blue team, leadership ability. Yeah. It's just a lot of power hungry. You're going to be trying to do maybe a bunch of R&D things or other cheeky ways to kind of give him power, because he's definitely going to want it. This is a huge, huge power sink. I wonder if his builder, as kind of I was saying before, his builder offers him, maybe the wilds offer him more power. I think it's going to be very, very important, because he definitely looks like he wants to take a lot of power. He definitely has some other powers to help him lead the X-Men to victory. So that to me says that they can have another, maybe they've done his movement. Maybe you can give him some extra dice, or you can give him some extra defense, or maybe if you're getting attacked, you can reactive spend some power to push him into cover or something like that. Or some kind of benefits. Maybe he has a way to kind of like shift the powers around. So if you attack someone else, maybe he can become the target, or he can choose someone else to become the target of the attacks as well. Would be really, really cool to kind of like help you squish your targets, because that's what a leader of the X-Men would do. Right. Last thing before I jump off here, he has 2 separate heads that you can actually use. One's this face you can see now. The other has the hood. So he's got his hood ticked up as well, which is really, really cool. But I'm going to throw you on to Scott. He's going to tell you now how you can check out all our different social medias, including Facebook, YouTube, where you're watching this one. So please like and comment as well as Instagram. Now, if you aren't aware as well, you can check out generalgames.com.au. That's our website where you can buy all your Marvel Crisis Protocol goodness for up to 20% plus below RRP as well, which is really, really cool. We're here to help you guys out and girls out as well, because we love this game. We love all of it, and really, really keen to definitely see some people playing this once the hellscape that is Melbourne is finally over. But check out all of that. Like I said, I'm going to throw you on to Scott. Comment below. Tell me what you think about Cyclops. What you're going to see from Cyclops. What do you want to see? Maybe some tactics you've already come up in your head. But I'm Max. I'm going to sign off. I love you all. Have a great night. I'll see you next time. Bye.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott. And if you enjoyed that video, please click on the YouTube thing. You can do the bell and all the notifications. It really helps us a lot, actually. Facebook, one of the most important things for us. It's all our events, our pre-orders, our information, alerts, opening hours, everything you'll find there. And, of course, last but not least, Instagram. It's a bunch of pictures, behind the scenes, all sorts of cool stuff. Thank you all for watching. Check it out next time. Bye.